What happens when you take a fantastic product, make it a little bit better, and then we here, your friends at Gramophone, sell it to you for even less than the original? Well, as far as the product goes, you get the 702 signature, specifically in this gorgeous Datuk wood finish, and you get a great deal from Gramophone. Now, I'm going to explain what makes the 702 signature so special in just a moment, but of course, welcome back to the channel, and don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon so you won't miss out on any upcoming highlights or any other fun content. Now, here's your question of the day. What's the best new revision of a speaker you've ever seen or heard? All right, the 702 signature takes the very good Bowers & Wilkins 702, a pretty class-defining speaker if you ask me, and makes it all the more sweeter. But what exactly have they done here to take an already great product and squeeze that much more out of it? Couple changes. First thing that you're immediately going to notice is the finish. They call this Datuk, and it's this dark ebony-like wood with great line streaks, highlights, and dark contrast in it that look fantastic. If you look up here at the tweeter, you'll notice the tweeter grill is now silver as opposed to black, and I think that's a great touch, as it pops out from the otherwise darker colors of the speaker and matches well with that Continuum cone mid-range. So I think the look is overall greatly improved. But the 702 signature is not just about look. Originally, the 702 was a $6,000 speaker and the signature about $7,500. So what was that extra $1,500 getting you other than just the better look, though that would almost be worth it itself? Inside the cabinet of the speaker are some serious changes to the crossover network. The crossover network is basically a bunch of passive electronics like inductors, coils, and capacitors that break up frequencies so that they go to different parts of the speaker. You don't want to send bass to a tweeter, you don't want to send highs to a bass driver, right? That's what your crossover does. But it has a significant impact on the overall sound of the speaker. After all, it's a major component, just as much as any one of these drivers or the entire cabinet is. The reason for this is because it is an electronic part, even if it's passive. Things like capacitors and inductors and even PCBs and traces can influence sound. We're talking big numbers like resistance, sensitivity, how the speaker is going to perform in the room. There's a whole lot of math going on into good speaker design too, and the crossover has to do with a lot of it. But Bowers realized that there were some improvements they could do. So on these new crossovers, all the caps are greatly improved, and it's made for an overall much more transparent presentation. Because of that, I can appreciate what these speakers set out to do even better than the original variant. It's like that this is a more pure, more optimized, more realized 702, because it's giving you what it wanted to deliver from the get-go, but it's doing it better, it's doing it smoother, it's more refined. Now, just like the original 702, our drivers are pretty much the same. We've got the great carbon dome tweeter mounted in the separate aluminum enclosure, decoupling it from the rest of the cabinet for reduced distortion, greater imaging, and dispersion of that sound throughout the room. And of course, that great reverse horn design that deals with any backwave frequencies we don't want to hear. Moving down to the mid-range, we have the same 6-inch Continuum comb driver, first inspired by the 800D3 series, now finding its way into the 700S2s, in this case the 700 Signature. These are great mid-ranges because they're very inert. Sometimes you can tell what a speaker is going to do to a particular sound just by listening to the very sound of the driver itself. But Continuum, being a blend of Kevlar and another secret sauce aramid fibers that Bowers won't tell me, but clearly is great stuff, it's very transparent. And lastly, the bass drivers on this unit are Aerofoil. They're basically like a very lightweight sandwiched cellulose design. They can thump, and they do so with low distortion and great output, just like we know from the original 702 S2. I think overall, though, the most improvements to the speaker, especially from that crossover network, comes to the tweeter. It's just cleaner, it's less fatiguing, but it's still detailed, and maybe a little bit to the mid-range as well, because that's where we're generally really listening for details and those mid to high notes where a lot of human voice activity is going to be presented. So when it comes to the experience, if you like what Bowers does with that incredibly detailed presentation, but we're looking for a little bit more refinement with a little bit of smoothing on the top, but without cutting any detail, just making it better, more pleasing to the ear even, that is precisely what the Signature has accomplished, and they've done it in a very fancy looking suit too that is much improved all around. The look of these speakers is fantastic. And I am so thrilled to tell you guys that we are selling the 702 signatures for less than the original 702s, at least here in this Datuk finish. You can grab these at $4,750 a pair. That is down from the original price of $7,500 and down from the original 702 S2's price of $6,000. Better speaker, less money. Need I say more? So make sure you head on over to Sky to pick up your pair or stop by one of the showroom locations. You'll find us in Timonium, Columbia, and Gaithersburg, and we have the Signature Series product on display everywhere. Come and hear it before you buy it, and I promise you will be impressed. We'll have a great time demoing it for you. And finally, it doesn't hurt to learn more about Bowers & Wilkins in general, so make sure you check out the recent live stream we did with Pete from Bowers & Wilkins. Links will be down below. All right, everybody, if you had a good time today and felt like you learned something, especially about great price speakers, be sure to comment down below and give this video a like. Don't forget that question of the day, and I really appreciate you being here as always. Be seeing you.